Let's drift back in time. It's a quiet morning in November 1922. The Valley of the Kings in Egypt lies still under a golden sky, with only the soft whisper of the wind brushing against the sand. Standing amidst the silence is a man, Howard Carter, a British archaeologist, after years of patient excavation and silent hope. That morning, something extraordinary happened. Beneath the layers of sand, Carter and his team uncovered a stone step. His heart raced. Could this be the entrance to a long-lost tomb? The sealed doorway ahead bore the mark of royalty, and behind it lay a forgotten treasure hidden for over 3,000 years, the resting place of the boy king, Tutankhamun. Now let's travel even further back. Over 3,300 years ago, Egypt was in a time of great change. Pharaoh Akhenaten, Tutankhamun's father, had undone centuries of tradition by banishing hundreds of gods and worshipping only one, Aten, the sun god. But when Akhenaten died, the kingdom fell into turmoil. A young boy, just about 9 years old, was crowned king. His name was Tutankhaten. Later, he changed it to Tutankhamun, the living image of Amun, signaling the return to the old beliefs. Though seen as a god on earth, he was still a child. He married his half-sister and ruled under the guidance of his advisors. In his short 10-year reign, Tutankhamun worked to restore what had been broken. And then, one day, the young king died. Suddenly and mysteriously. No one knows why. Perhaps it was an accident, a broken leg that led to infection. Perhaps it was an illness or inherited frailty. Maybe it was malaria. Whatever the cause, his sudden passing left behind questions still unanswered. His burial was rushed. A small tomb, perhaps meant for someone of lesser status, was filled with more than 5,000 treasures. Chariots, food, canes, crowns, everything a king might need for his journey to the afterlife. And then, the tomb fell into slumber, buried in sand and silence, for thousands of years, until Carter found it. But with the fame came a whispering legend, the pharaoh's curse. When Lord Carnarvon, Carter's sponsor, died from an infected mosquito bite, and the lights in Cairo flickered out at the same moment, the press was quick to speak of curses. Others involved in the excavation passed away under strange circumstances. Yet Carter, who opened the tomb himself, lived another 17 healthy years. He didn't believe in curses. He believed in the beauty of the past. Now, imagine you're stepping into the tomb yourself. Soft, flickering light from oil lamps glows against the golden objects, and before you, the famous golden mask of Tutankhamun, quiet and serene. This mask is not just a masterpiece, it's sacred. It transforms the young king into a god. Made of gold, a metal believed to be the flesh of the gods, it was meant to last forever. Look closely and you'll see symbols of power. The striped royal headdress, the cobra and vulture, representing Upper and Lower Egypt. His eyes, crafted from obsidian and quartz, seem to gaze into eternity. But behind the splendor lies something tender. A small child's chair reminds us the king was just a boy, wilted garlands, perhaps a final gift from his young wife. And in a tiny coffin, a carefully preserved lock of hair, believed to belong to his grandmother, Queen Tai. These were not just royal treasures. They were keepsakes of love and memory, meant to follow him into eternity. One mystery remains. The king's heart was never found. In ancient Egyptian belief, the heart was the seat of wisdom and emotion, crucial in the weighing of the heart ceremony in the afterlife. If the heart was heavier than the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth, the soul would be devoured by a monster and never live again. To make up for this loss, embalmers placed a scarab-shaped amulet on his chest, carved with sacred spells to protect and guide his soul, standing in place of the missing heart. And so began his journey through the afterlife. Tutankhamun's soul traveled through the duat, the underworld, filled with gates, creatures, riddles, and trials. On the walls of his tomb were texts and images from the Book of the Dead, guiding him through each peril. Eventually, he would stand before 42 gods, facing questions about his life, proving his worthiness for eternal peace. His tomb also held Shabti, tiny servant statues, ready to come to life and serve him in the afterlife. There were models of boats, too, not just for sailing the Nile, but for carrying him across the heavens alongside the sun god Ra. Every item, no matter how grand or ordinary, held sacred meaning. They were not just possessions, they were tools for a journey toward divinity. And after all the trials, the young king's spirit would return to the familiar lands of Egypt. There he would hunt, feast with the gods, and dwell in a perfect world, free from pain, free from fear. For the ancient Egyptians, death was never the end. It was the perfection of life. As you stand before the treasures left behind, from the gleaming golden mask to the faded petals of a long-gone flower, you're not just seeing relics. You're touching echoes, whispers of a life lived long ago, and a people who believed in love, memory, and forever.